Companies that need funding for technologies that may benefit the U.S. military have a safe source now to get that money. The Trusted Capital Marketplace is providing an alternative to what the Defense Department calls adversarial capital. General Hawk Carlisle, U.S. Air Force retired president and CEO of the National Defense Industrial Association. Hawk, welcome back. Last time you were on the program, we touched on this briefly. Define those terms for me, please. Adversarial capital and trusted capital.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. It's great to be back. It's good to see you again, Francis. I don't think people really well understand what the Chinese in particular and our potential adversaries out there are doing. And they're taking advantage of what we consider an open marketplace. The open marketplace is great. Friends, allies, partners, companies within the United States can gain things from each other and learn from each other, and the companies can grow together and be innovative and create new things. What the Chinese have figured out is at the right inflection points when things are either prototyping or going to commercialization, where small businesses and startups in particular need capital to keep afloat. And the Chinese, what they do is invest that capital and kind of in a backdoor way are able to take that intellectual property, that innovative ideas, because they have a capital investment, and take that technology away from the United States. They cut the corner, and they do it via predatory investments and coercive economic policies.
The Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States is one potential overseer here. Why isn't oversight from CFIUS enough at this moment? Why is this still happening, Hawk?
Well, it's because CFIUS does a really good job when it meets certain thresholds. And if there's a certain amount of a stake and it's a known adversary investment. But, again, the Chinese using open markets are very good at going around those, being just below a threshold where CFIUS would get engaged, or having multiple different investment firms at smaller and smaller stakes. But when you put them together, they can still take that intellectual property, but they don't reach the CFIUS thresholds. And of course, the problem with the Chinese is also the mil-civ fusion is everything that the Chinese civilian and commercial enterprise do, the government has access to and can take at will. So CFIUS is a great approach, and the strengthening of CFIUS is very important. But we also need this trusted capital marketplace.
How does that marketplace work, and is it enough to achieve what we need to achieve here to get to those lower thresholds to help these companies when they're really in their nascent stages?
Well, we just kind of got started with it, and my hats off Secretary Ellen Lord and what she did in moving this forward, and Secretary Esper is right now we have about 100 firms and about $20 billion of trusted capital from capital firms that can invest in it, but it needs to grow and get bigger. So it's a good start. I think the next phase will be friends, partners, and allies. You can think the United Kingdom, Australia, other NATO partners, perhaps Japan, maybe Korea, and their capital investment could be part of that as well. So we grow not only as a nation, but as partners and allies. So it's a great start. But I think we got more work to do.
Is there a place to appeal to companies who have a vested interest in selling to the Defense Department to say, if you're profitable and you have the opportunity, this is a good place for you to put your investment for your own interests, for your shareholders' interests, as well as for the interests of the nation? Because it sounds to me like these are the kinds of investments that it would make sense for a member of the traditional DIB to want to be a part of.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And it is a case where I think the firms reaching out to venture capitalists to put money into this, knowing that they're going to be a good source of revenue and a good earnings per share as these technologies are developed and come forward. And if you look at what happened during COVID, the defense industrial base was kind of a safe haven in some ways because it kept operating through the entire time of COVID and still is. So it is a good way for the capital investment as well as firms to invest money into this. And I think we worked even government-wise. So we at NDIA have worked on Section 4003 of taking that money that wasn't used for that and putting it into the small business innovation research funds to allow some of that money to get to phase 2 and phase 3. for these small business and innovators to bring their products forward.
You mentioned China as being the primary player in this marketplace, in the adversarial capital marketplace, Hawk, and that fits with all the reading that I've done on this. Is there a reason that we don't see Russia there? Is it just because of their overall economic situation not being particularly healthy where China has the money, or is there some other factor here?
No, it's predominantly that. I mean, I would agree with your comment. You know, the Chinese, I think if you just look, they're basically the same economy, size of economy as we have, and our two nations are so far ahead of everybody else. You know, I often say that I think Xi Jinping has got a good hand to play because of the strength of his economy. I don't think he's as good a strategist. I think Vladimir Putin has a weak hand to play because his economy is so bad. But strategically, he's actually making smarter strategic moves.
What will you follow along this line of trusted and adversarial capital? What needs to happen next, and who do you think should do it, Hawk?
Well, I think it's predominantly, it'll certainly start in the Department of Defense, but I think in commerce and treasury, kind of across the government, I think our commercial enterprise needs to be aware of this as well. The commercial products that have great technology. I mean, there's horror stories about you know, small businesses looking for capital. They get adversary capital. They get sucked up, and that technology is gone, and it may not have any applicability to defense, but it's a technology that would be part of our economy and part of growing our economy, and it's gone because it's been taken by the Chinese in particular. So I think it needs to expand to the other departments inside the government.
Hawk Carlisle, thanks very much for joining me.
Thank you very much, friends. Great to see you, my friend.